After we broke up, my ex-girlfriend opened 2 credit cards in my name and racked up about $7,500 in debt. Now her current boyfriend is threatening me. It's been just over a year since my ex and I went our separate ways. We shared a home for several years, giving her ample opportunity to access my personal financial documents. At the time of our split, I believed I'd collected all my belongings. However, a perplexing discovery during tax season made me question that assumption. I noticed the absence of my previous year's tax returns, which I initially attributed to the chaos of moving. This oversight turned alarming last Friday when I was unexpectedly served with a lawsuit demanding payment for over $5,000 due to a credit card default. Alarmed, I reviewed my credit report and found that this card had been defaulted since May, and another account had been closed since June with an outstanding balance of approximately $20,500. Neither of these accounts were familiar to me, prompting me to contest their legitimacy with the credit bureaus immediately. Upon investigating, I learned that the first card was opened in January after I had vacated our shared residence. The card statements were telling. The purchases were predominantly from Nordstrom and Macy's, 2 of my ex's favorite retailers. This led me to suspect she had used my social security number, likely obtained from the lost tax documents, to fraudulently open these accounts. Confronting her over the phone, I laid out my suspicions. Her response was a vehement denial, followed by a threat to sever all communication. Shortly after, an unsettling call from a blocked number introduced me to her new boyfriend, who ominously warned of dire consequences should I continue to harass her. His criminal record, easily found in public archives, includes serious offenses such as aggravated arson and firearms charges, which added a layer of intimidation to an already stressful situation. Now, I find myself in a precarious position, weighing the risks of legal action against the potential for retaliation from someone with a history of violence. Despite the daunting circumstances, inaction isn't an option for me. I would appreciate any guidance on how to proceed. In this sub, I've noticed a recurring theme of identity theft, and I've found the following steps often recommended, applicable whether you know the thief or not. Report to the police. It's imperative to treat identity theft as a serious crime. Regardless of your past relationship with the perpetrator, they've violated the law and must face the consequences. Freeze your credit. To prevent further fraudulent activities, it's wise to freeze your credit. This proactive measure ensures no new lines of credit can be opened in your name without your permission. Monitor your credit. Continuously monitor your credit reports to catch any unauthorized attempts to open new accounts. There are services that provide free monitoring and also display your credit score. Alert potential victims. If you suspect that the identity thief may have access to the personal information of your family members or friends, warn them to take similar protective actions. Leverage the police report. When disputing fraudulent accounts with the credit bureaus, provide them with the police report number. This often suffices to have the erroneous entries removed from your credit report. Creditors must prove the legitimacy of the accounts. The bureaus generally stay out of such disputes. The presence of a police report can significantly expedite the resolution of your credit disputes. It's crucial not to overlook identity theft, even if the perpetrator is someone you once trusted. Failing to address it can lead to years of financial woes, from poor credit and collections agencies to potential legal battles. Given the violent tendencies of my ex's new partner, as evidenced by his criminal record, I'm considering obtaining a restraining order for my safety. He's made threats, and I'm unsure if he knows my current address. From this point on, I intend to avoid direct contact with my ex and let all communications be handled through legal channels. I'm gearing up to contact the police, though the whole ordeal has been quite intimidating. Action steps and legal updates. After receiving valuable advice, I proceeded to report the fraud to the police. The process was efficient, taking only about 30 minutes to secure a police report number. Subsequently, I ceased receiving threats from my ex or her boyfriend suggesting that the report had an immediate impact. I provided the report number to both the credit card companies and the credit bureaus, which alleviated most of my responsibilities except for attending the upcoming court date for the lawsuit. The legal representatives managing the lawsuit were also informed and were left to handle the proceedings. A turn for the better. Recent developments have been unexpectedly positive. A mutual friend informed me that my ex was arrested under a recently issued warrant while en route to her workplace, although she was released fairly quickly. Furthermore, I learned that she and the threatening boyfriend have parted ways, reducing any residual fears of retaliation from him. The court date is set for later this month, but the fraudulent charges have already been removed from my credit report, boosting my score by approximately 200 points. While my presence at the court is still required, the major hurdles appear to have been cleared. Community feedback and precautionary measures. Community responses have been encouraging. One commenter applauded the outcome as inspirational for those facing similar injustices, while another advised ensuring my social security number is frozen with all 3 credit bureaus, a step I had already taken. Transition to the next challenge. With this matter resolving positively, attention shifts to another community issue. A recent incident at my church has sparked significant controversy. Our young worship leader was dismissed for denouncing Christian nationalism during a service, causing a rift among the band members, some of whom are considering leaving in protest. Although I'm not directly involved, I support the youth band during services by managing lyric presentations, except on Sundays when they lead. This developing situation suggests a potential upheaval in our church community dynamics. Background and incident. The focal point of this controversy is Emma, a 20-year-old assistant and the main singer in our youth band who is also the daughter of a youth assistant. The incident unfolded during a Sunday worship session led by the youth band on June 30th, which unfortunately led to Emma and her family departing from our church. During an interlude between songs, Emma felt compelled to express her views on Christian nationalism. She stated that this ideology was not aligned with God's principles, highlighting that coercion contradicts the essence of Christianity, which is rooted in free will, a concept she felt many Christians overlook. Emma criticized Project 2025, a program advertised under Christian values, asserting that it misrepresented divine intentions as it seemed to enforce belief, contrary to God's nature of granting freedom of choice. Her statement was brief and the service continued without immediate confrontation. The band played several more songs and the service concluded as planned. Reactions and developments. However, the ramifications of her words became apparent by the next youth meeting on Friday. Both Emma and her mother were conspicuously absent. The youth pastor later revealed that they would no longer be participating in the youth activities, vaguely citing a need to give others a chance to lead. Nevertheless, rumors circulated, originating from a band member, that Emma had been banned during the week and her parents had left the church in solidarity with her. Internal band discussions and potential actions. This situation has stirred significant unrest within the band. I learned of their dissatisfaction during a private discussion, which also included the other individual who assists with the PowerPoint presentations. The band is considering dramatic measures to express their discontent and support for Emma. They are contemplating a walkout during their next scheduled Sunday performance, immediately after the introductory song. This act of protest would begin with a statement of support for Emma, followed by a collective exit from the stage. Deliberations on the consequences. The band has not yet shared these plans beyond their immediate circle, wary of potential leaks. With several weeks before their next performance and no new lead singer appointed, the group is carefully weighing the repercussions such a protest might have, particularly concerning their parents' reactions and the broader impact on their roles in the church. The decision remains pending, underscoring the tension and the moral dilemma they face. Selective broadcasts and rising concerns. In a departure from usual practice, the church opted not to upload the worship segment featuring Emma to their YouTube channel, instead only posting the sermon from that day. This omission has raised eyebrows given the church's standard protocol of including the entire service in their uploads. Among the youth band members, concerns are not only about making a statement, but also about potential repercussions on their education, as some rely on financial support from their parents for tuition, seeking broader perspectives. While my role is primarily behind the scenes handling PowerPoint lyrics, I felt compelled to seek advice on this matter discreetly, avoiding direct discussions with parents due to the sensitivity of the situation. I hope to gather insights that could offer a balanced view of the potential benefits and drawbacks of the band's planned actions. Church leadership and political expressions. It's noteworthy to mention that our pastor has previously incorporated political commentary into sermons, endorsing political figures and addressing contentious issues like Roe v. Wade and gay rights. This context is crucial as it underscores the environment in which Emma felt compelled to speak out against what she perceived as the politicization of faith, which she believes distorts the church's spiritual mission. Community feedback and decisive actions. The feedback from the community on my initial post was overwhelming and incredibly helpful. It has reinforced the band's resolve to proceed with their planned walkout as a form of protest against the church's handling of Emma's situation. They have decided to keep their plans confined within the group to prevent any leaks that could jeopardize their strategy. Upcoming changes and solidarity. We now have a set schedule for when the youth band will lead worship again, marked out over the next 2 years in quarters. The youth pastor has already appointed a new lead singer from within the youth group who will rotate with others in the coming Sundays. Interestingly, the new singer has expressed solidarity with Emma, criticizing the church's response as unjust. This situation continues to evolve, with the band steadfast in their commitment to make a statement while navigating the complex dynamics of church, family, and personal convictions. Safety measures and external support. In an exciting development, 2 band members have reached out to non-religious family members about their concerns regarding potential repercussions from their planned protest. These relatives have agreed to support the band by waiting in their cars in the parking lot during the service. This arrangement ensures the band members can quickly and safely exit to their cars following the walkout, providing a secure retreat without leaving the premises to avoid any accusations of kidnapping. Widening the support network. Additionally, one of the band members has confided in a school teacher who is considering joining the protest, further amplifying the statement being made. Another band member has crafted a statement for the lead singer to read before their collective walkout. We are currently seeking someone with editing experience to refine this message to ensure clarity and impact. The planned protest. The logistics of the protest are set. The band will perform the opening song, signaling the start of the service. As the congregation settles and after the welcome prayer, the lead singer will deliver the prepared statement. At this point, not only will the band exit the stage, but I, along with several relatives and friends from the pews, will join the walkout in solidarity. Recording and documentation. One relative has volunteered to record the entire event, ensuring we have documentation of the protest and any potentially adverse reactions from the congregation or parents. This footage will be crucial for understanding the full impact of our actions and for addressing any fallout. Philosophical stand and future expectations. The majority of the band members, except 2 seniors, are not of voting age, yet they see this act as an essential stand against the infiltration of Christian nationalism into our religious practice, a trend they believe is diminishing the respect for Christianity. While we harbor no illusions about immediately changing church attitudes with this protest, it represents our commitment to acting on our convictions. Continued advocacy and clarifications. A commenter recently highlighted the importance of acting according to one's conscience, which resonated deeply with us, affirming our decision to proceed. Additionally, it's crucial to clarify that Emma's comments were not spontaneous, but part of her ongoing concern about the politicization of our sermons, which has been evident for some time. Lastly, while there has been some disagreement via private messages about the band's decision to protest, it is important to understand the context of our pastor's frequent political endorsements from the pulpit, including his comments following the 2020 election and on issues like Roe v. Wade. Controversial sermons and community feedback. The content of recent sermons has sparked significant debate within our community. Notably, our pastor has drawn parallels between Trump's legal trials and the persecution of Jesus Christ, along with making political statements about events such as Roe v. Wade's overturning and Pride Month. These topics, aired from the pulpit over the past few years, have been met with mixed reactions, which were echoed in the direct messages I received following my initial post. While some members encouraged dialogue and peaceful resolution, others criticized Emma's direct approach as disruptive and inappropriate. Emma's attempts at dialogue. In response to criticisms labeling the planned walkout and Emma's actions as ungodly and immature, it's important to clarify that Emma had previously raised concerns with church leadership about the politicization of sermons, albeit without any resultant change. This context is crucial as it demonstrates that attempts at internal resolution were made but ultimately disregarded. Biblical justification for public discourse. The criticisms also sparked a theological reflection among the band members, particularly regarding the appropriate methods for addressing grievances within the church. Referencing Matthew 18:15-17, the scripture outlines a process for dealing with transgressions that escalate from private discussions to more public revelations if initial attempts at resolution fail. Emma and the band have adhered to this guidance, starting with private conversations and escalating their concerns in line with biblical teachings. Justification of public actions. As for taking the issue to the congregation, interpretations may vary. While some suggest this means escalating concerns to higher church authorities, our situation has shown that such steps have been ineffective. The continued political rhetoric from the pulpit, which many feel detracts from the spiritual purpose of our gatherings, has compelled us to consider more visible forms of protest. Historical and scriptural analogies. Drawing on another biblical incident when Jesus overturned tables in the temple, Matthew 21:12, he was responding to the misuse of a sacred space for profane purposes. By analogy, the band views the persistent political preaching as a similar misuse of our church's spiritual platform. This historical precedent supports our belief that sometimes visible actions are necessary to restore the sanctity of our religious practices. Through these reflections and discussions, the band and supportive community members are preparing for a protest that is rooted in both a deep love for our church and a fervent desire to realign its practices with its spiritual mission. Community insights and personal deliberations. In response to a previously overlooked link shared in the comments of my initial post, the band found further justification for their sentiments. Despite this reinforcement, I plan to discuss the situation with my parents before the upcoming quarters, and I will soon share the statement the band is preparing, clarifying my role and the band's autonomy. It's important to note that while I am involved with the band through managing PowerPoint lyrics, I am not a formal member and am not privy to their internal discussions. The decision to proceed with the walkout lies solely with the band members, some of whom are weighing serious personal consequences, such as potential withdrawal of parental support for their education. Support and respect for their choices. If the band decides to proceed with the walkout, I will stand in solidarity by joining them from the pews. However, should they decide against it due to the potential repercussions, I will respect their decision and continue to support them in their roles. Second update, a change in plans. I intended to update sooner, but recent developments have shifted the situation significantly. Ultimately, the band chose not to proceed with the walkout. A pivotal factor was a heartfelt conversation initiated by Emma. Days before the planned protest, Emma reached out to the band after a younger member expressed fears of physical abuse from her parents should the walkout proceed. Considering the implications for younger and dependent members, Emma shared her concerns about the risks to the younger band members and those dependent on their parents for financial support, including tuition. With her independent financial stability, Emma was in a different position from some band members who were still reliant on their parents. She advised them to prioritize their safety and future prospects, respecting their individual circumstances and fears. Collective resolution and quiet resignation. The band communicated their decision to step back from the protest by resigning quietly to the youth pastor at a youth group meeting prior to the planned date. This private resolution allowed them to withdraw without further public conflict, demonstrating a mature approach to a complex situation fraught with potential personal risks. Open dialogue and decision-making. In the wake of deciding against the walkout, the band members communicated their intentions to their parents, affirming that their decision to join the youth band was voluntary and not coerced. Despite opting out of a public protest, they remained committed to voicing their concerns about how Emma was treated, albeit in a manner that wouldn't publicly embarrass their parents or jeopardize their own privileges within the community. Choosing a safer platform for expression. To ensure their voices were still heard, the band collaborated with Emma to articulate their reasons for resigning in a written statement. Emma took the initiative to post this explanation on her social media accounts on the day of the intended walkout, and several band members echoed her by sharing the statement on their platforms. Emma also made sure to tag the church's social media handle in her posts, providing a direct but less confrontational avenue to express their stance. Impact and reactions. The decision to use social media as a platform was seen as a compromise. It reached a smaller audience than a public walkout would have, but the band hoped it would still stir conversations and perhaps spark some necessary changes through less disruptive means. This approach seemed to mitigate direct conflict with their parents and the broader church community while still upholding their principles. Continued attendance and individual choices. Following these events, the dynamics of attendance changed. The 15-year-old band member attended the church service on the day of the intended walkout, reflecting her precarious personal situation. However, the senior members took a brief hiatus, returning only the subsequent Sunday. Since then, participation in the youth group has ceased among the band members, including myself, starting from the Friday before the planned protest. Unexpected outreach and support. The aftermath of our decision brought some unexpected developments. I received a direct message from an individual associated with a Christian news outlet interested in sharing our story in their newsletter, albeit anonymously, to protect our identities and the church's privacy. The band is currently contemplating this opportunity. Additionally, a pastor reached out privately, commending the band's courage and integrity. He emphasized the importance of accountability among church leaders and expressed a desire to engage with our church's pastor directly to discuss the concerns raised, highlighting a pastoral responsibility to uphold ethical and spiritual standards within the church community. Caution and consideration. Currently, Emma and the band remain undecided about how to proceed with the offer from the Christian news outlet and the outreach from the pastor who expressed a desire to help. They are taking their time to ensure the legitimacy of the pastor's intentions and to consider the potential implications for the church. I have communicated to the pastor that we will respond after careful consideration. Family dynamics and support. Contrary to some assumptions, Emma's parents did not leave the church in solidarity with her. They were also banned following the controversy. This has strained their relationship with Emma, who remains steadfast in her convictions despite the familial tensions and lack of communication that have ensued since her public statements. Personal struggles and insights. This entire ordeal has been a tipping point for me, marking my growing disillusionment not only with this church, but also with broader issues within my community. It is disheartening to witness how some parents prioritize the church's image over the genuine needs and aspirations of their children. Emma's ordeal has highlighted this, especially in her defense of free will, a principle that seems contradicted by the way some parents enforce religious conformity, even to the point of withdrawing privileges for noncompliance. Challenges of isolation and restrictions. On a more personal note, my social interactions have been severely limited. I've been homeschooled my entire life, a decision my parents made to keep me away from what they perceive as the secular influences of public school. This isolation extends to my participation in sports, which is confined to informal games within our church's homeschool group, barring me from joining any competitive leagues or school teams. Yearning for independence. My experience has often felt like an extended childhood, kept under the training wheels of strict religious and parental oversight. I long for a chance to explore life beyond these confines, to experience education and socialization in a more diverse environment where I can test and strengthen my faith through real-world challenges, not sheltered from them. Closing thoughts. As I reflect on these issues, I am moved by Emma's courage to speak her truth and the complex dynamics that have unfolded as a result. Below, I will share the band's statement from Emma's post, which eloquently captures the essence of our collective struggle for authenticity and freedom within our faith community. Stepping away to find clarity. Personally, I've come to realize I need a break from church and Christianity as a whole. Growing up in a church that has made questionable decisions, particularly in recent years, has led me to reconsider my beliefs. I remember saying the salvation prayer when I was only 7 or 8 years old, but at that age, you don't truly know what you believe. It was more a reflection of the influence and bias of my parents than an informed personal decision. The constant mixing of politics and faith, like our pastor's rants from the pulpit, feels no different from the people selling goods in the temple before Jesus famously flipped the tables. I've reached a point where I feel the need to step back, not necessarily forever, but for a long enough time to gain a fresh perspective without the biases of my upbringing. Exploring other paths. I plan to learn about other religions, as Christianity is all I've ever known. This doesn't mean I've closed the door on Christianity for good, but I can't, in good conscience, continue identifying with a faith that, at least in its modern form, seems tainted by hate and politics. I'm aware that there are good Christians out there, but in order to broaden my worldview, I need a complete break for now. Without that distance, I won't be able to approach my spiritual search with an unbiased mind. Family disagreements and consequences. I've already had several arguments with my parents over my decision to stop attending church, and I know some of the band members have faced similar backlash from their families for taking a stand. This pressure to conform, to attend church simply to maintain appearances is a symptom of what I see as a twisted version of Christianity. It's one of the many reasons I believe this break is necessary for me to reset and find what faith truly means to me. The band's dilemma and statement. As for the band, they did decide to return to church after 8 quarters, though I'm not sure whether that was due to pressure from their parents or a change of heart. Either way, their original plan to make a statement was adapted. Instead of voicing their concerns publicly in a potentially controlled environment where their microphones could be cut off, they shared their write-up through Emma's social media where their words could reach people without interference. The band's final write-up. In the write-up, they emphasized a core belief that too many Christians seem to overlook. Christianity is about a personal relationship with God, a choice that no one can make for someone else. They cited Joshua 24:15, which reminds us to choose whom we will serve, but lamented that many have forgotten the importance of free will. The fusion of religion with political conservatism, particularly Christian nationalism, was called out as a distortion of the true purpose of Christianity. As the band stated, those who use faith to control others are not living in the spirit of true Christianity. The ability to share their unfiltered message on social media has been a powerful tool, allowing them to express their frustrations and beliefs in a way they might not have been able to if they had attempted to do so during the service. For now, I'm taking a step back from the church, hoping this break will give me the clarity I need to approach faith in a more open, unbiased way. Disillusionment with the church. As Christians, we are taught not to judge others, for that is God's role, not ours. However, after the way our church handled Emma's situation, banning her and misleading the youth into believing she chose to leave, we feel we can no longer be part of a congregation where the pastor uses the pulpit to preach anything other than the gospel. We pray that one day, the true Spirit of God will return to this place. New update, personal reflections. There's been something weighing on my mind that I need to get off my chest. It's been weeks since I last attended church, and honestly, I hope I never have to go back. My parents aren't happy about it, and we've had discussions. While they haven't forced me to return, this situation has been the final straw for me. Since my last update, I received a call from one of the senior band members, let's call him John, who wanted to check in and give me an update on what's been happening since Emma's post that included the band's statement. John has started attending community college, but the other senior bandmate, the one whose parents had threatened to pull tuition support, was not as fortunate. That senior was punished for quitting the band, while John faced no such repercussions. The aftermath for the band members. The 15-year-old girl who replaced Emma as the lead singer was forced to return to church by her parents, as was another boy who was in the band. Emma has remained in contact with the band, and John told me that she has been offering encouragement to those still struggling with the fallout. Emma advised the 2 seniors to find a new church, but the one who was punished wasn't interested. He admitted that he had never been particularly religious and had only attended church because his parents forced him. He doesn't plan to return in the future. John, who had written much of the statement, shared that the hypocrisy he witnessed in the church had pushed him away for good. He now plans to practice his faith privately, avoiding organized religion altogether. While Emma was saddened to see how this situation had soured the seniors' views of church, she herself has decided to take time away from finding a new church to focus on self-discovery. A more personal revelation. When John asked if I was planning to search for a new church, I told him no, though I didn't go into much detail at the time. But here, I want to be more open about what's been bothering me. The truth is, I'm tired. Tired of the judgment, the hypocrisy, and the pressure to conform. This experience has left me questioning not only the church I grew up in, but also the very idea of organized religion itself. This isn't just about what happened to Emma. It's about a lifetime of feeling like I was never truly able to explore my own beliefs or express my doubts without fear of disappointment or punishment. For now, I need to take a step back and reevaluate what faith means to me on my own terms. This journey may lead me back to church one day, or it may not. But what I do know is that I need space to think, reflect, and find a path that feels genuine to me. Frustration with modern Christianity. A lot of the comments I've received mentioned how the band and I gave people hope for future generations of Christianity, but honestly, reading that just made me angry. I'm going to be more blunt than I've been in my previous posts. The truth is, I hate modern Christianity in this country. And while I know it's not God's fault that so many Christians have become hateful, my frustration runs deeper than this recent incident. Feeling trapped in a life shaped by others' beliefs. For as long as I can remember, I felt like I never really had a childhood. Being homeschooled my entire life because my parents believed public school was too secular isolated me from normal experiences. I don't have many friends, really just one, and my social skills are lacking because my only exposure to other people was through Sunday services and youth group a couple of times a week. On top of that, my parents strictly policed what I wore in the name of purity, and they wouldn't let me participate in sports or do anything fun that most kids take for granted. But what's worse is that I feel scared, and I have no one to talk to about it. My entire life has been built around a religion that has no concrete proof of its existence, and when I've tried to express my fears in the past, my parents just dismissed me saying I should know better. But that doesn't help. It doesn't give me the evidence or reassurance I need. Fear of wasting my life. What terrifies me the most is thinking about what will happen when my time on earth ends. If there's no God, no judgment day, nothing. Wouldn't that mean I've spent my entire life trying to please something that doesn't exist? The thought of wasting my life on an invisible belief is paralyzing. Who am I supposed to blame if my parents are wrong? By then, it'll be too late to blame anyone, and I'll have spent my entire life living for a what if. That doesn't seem like any way to live, and it's already too late for me to experience the childhood I missed out on. I'm 17, and I feel like I've barely lived. Looking for answers and hope. I'm just hoping that someone out there can help ease my fears until I can afford to talk to a professional. I'll keep my DMs open for any advice, even though it stings to read comments calling me and the band cowards for not following through with the walkout. It hurts even more when people say we gave them hope for future generations of Christianity, because that's the very thing that robbed me of my childhood. I'm done with Christianity, not because of rebellion or anger, but because I can't base my entire life on a what if without enough evidence to support it. And here I am at 17, grappling with the realization that I've never truly lived. I want to go to college, experience life, maybe have a drink, and date someone outside of the church, because this feels like my last chance before I'm stuck in the 9-to-5 grind for the rest of my life. But I can't shake the constant guilt hanging over me, drilled in by the strict teachings about purity and the pressure extreme Christians use to manipulate people. Some people thought I was passionate about Christianity based on my previous posts, but the truth is, I've disliked Christianity long before all of this, mostly due to how much I resented homeschooling. It was satisfying to stand up to the church with the band's walkout plan and the eventual social media post, using their own scriptures to call them out for once. But make no mistake, I'm not passionate about Christianity. For me, it's become a tool that's been used to control lives, mine included, especially through homeschooling. Honestly, I hate that I know so much of the Bible because it was forced on me. With the added layer of hate and political rhetoric that Christianity has taken on in recent years, I want nothing to do with it. I don't want to be associated with a belief system that has become so warped and divisive. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to stay updated with more real-life stories that will open your eyes to what's happening around you.